Hi, I'm Christopher Dean and welcome to part 6 of a tutorial series where we build a design system in Sketch. This week we're doing our first component, the button. You can see that I had a client meeting today and that's why I'm wearing this snazzy shirt. Let's get into it, eh? So design systems part 6, buttons. I'm just going to read through this. The buttons we'll create in Design can be used for a website or a native app and won't include icons. We'll keep them clean, easy to update, and I'll show you 3 ways to make a button. You're free to use whatever one you like, but I'll keep the first one. Okay, the first one is a separate symbol for each type and state, which is easier to manage and reduces designer error. You'll see that a little bit later when I demo them. Second is a nested symbol that allows you to create any button. But this requires more governance and increases designer error. And I'll show you again what that looks like. The third one is using the Paddy plugin. At the moment, this doesn't support nested symbols and creates inconsistent UX as every button ends up with a different width. Which is a bit strange when you're working through an app or a website. Okay, so are you ready? Let's make a new branch and abstract. And call it buttons. Let's edit this in Sketch. Okay, let's go over to this artboard and duplicate it. Just holding down Option Shift and dragging it down. I'm going to zoom out, move this one all the way over to here and position it at 0 and 2000. Let's select the artboard and go in again. Delete all of its content. Change its name to buttons. Change the H1 to buttons. And Android to action. Let's go in, turn on our grid, our layout settings, and our guides. Let's just draw a rectangle. I'm going to hit R, drag this out so it's 2 columns wide. And that makes it 208 by 48. I'm going to change its color to primary, 100. And the corners are going to be upper 48, 24. And again, you can make slightly rounded corner buttons, but I'm going to use rounded buttons. Let's move this to the top in the layers panel. Come back and add some text. Type label. Change this to the paragraph style. That's white and center. Make sure it's in the center. Drag this so you've got 16 pixels on each side. And move it down till it looks like it's vertically centered. And that's our first problem. This is a paragraph style, and we need a new text style for links that are inside a button. So let's go to Typography Desktop. Move these down. Duplicate our paragraph styles. I just hit Command D then. Turn on our layout settings. Change this from P to A label. I'll zoom in a bit more so you can see it. Copy and paste that into the others. And change their text styles. So create new text style. DT/A/A label with a capital L. Let's copy that whole first part. Grab the second one and change that. And the third one. Zoom back out and do the same for white. Let's grab these paragraph styles, duplicate them, move them down. Copy and paste a label into them. And change their text styles. dt/a/a label /white. Copy that first part. Okay, and let's see if we've done that right. dt/a label black and white. Awesome. Zoom back out and go to our buttons artboard again. And change that old paragraph style to the new A label style. Okay. Now we're going to grab both of those, group them, and type in button/button primary, where primary is the first button that you have and secondary is the second button that you have. /primary because of its color. That's a little bit confusing, but let's move on. /default. So that's the button in its default state. Let's make a symbol out of this. Go and grab it. Let's end it up over there on the right. Move it over the one we just made. Clean up the layers and delete the one under it. Okay, now go over to the resizing panel and on the text, hit the left and the right one and fix height. In the background layer, hit all four. We'll rename rectangle to button. Now when you resize this button, the label will still stay in the center, no matter how far you go. Let's duplicate this button. Change primary to white, which is the primary button on a very dark surface, reversed to be white. Let's change its label to black. And the background to white. Let's grab the artboard and turn on background color and change this to our black, just so we can see it. I'm going to duplicate the primary button again, move it over here. Reorganize our layers. Okay, and this one's going to be called secondary. Instead of primary, we're going to have black. We're going to change the label to black. In the background, we're going to need a new shape style that we don't have. If we go line black 1 pixel, that's going to put that line 0.5 of a pixel outside of the button and inside of the button. So let's go over to our shape styles. Okay. Let's select the black one. Turn on our guides. Select the 4 pixel one and draw out a rectangle. That's 88 by 16. Change its shape style to line black 1 pixel. Change its position to inside. And then create a new layer style and put inside at the end of it. We're going to need a white one as well. So let's select that background rectangle and extend it a bit so we can see what we're doing. Copy that rectangle we just made and bring it over here. Change its color to white and update its text style. Okay, now something's happened. We go shape line black 1 pixel and shape line white 1 pixel. The others should have a / center in their names. So let's go and change them all and add that in. Go to Organize Layer Styles. Go down to the first line style. Add / center. Copy that and paste it in front of everything else. Okay, if somebody could find a plugin that can do this quickly, I would love you forever. But until then, this is the fastest way I know how to do it, which would probably take less time overall than finding a plugin, if you think about it. Here we go. Almost there. Okay. And let's see if that did it. Yep. And we can make more of those if we need them later, but for now, we just need black and white. Let's go back over to the secondary button style. Change its background style to line black inside. Let's duplicate this button. Change that to white. Turn on our background color so we know what we're doing. Make it dark. Change the label to white. And the shape layer to line white 1 pixel inside. Okay, we've got our basic set of buttons. Let's just check their names. Primary, primary, primary white, secondary black, secondary white. Let's duplicate this button and move it down to about there. Now our hover styles aren't going to change the button's color. They're going to add a soft shadow underneath them as if they were hovered over and raised and cast a shadow on top of something. So let's duplicate the button layer. Select the one on the bottom, change it to shadow. And then add a surface of probably level 3. See what that really looks like. We're going to turn off all of our guides and place the symbol onto this artboard as well. Swap it for the other one. Okay, that's all right. Let's delete that. Make sure we rename this from default to hover. Turn on our guides again. Duplicate this button. Change its name from default to hover. Copy the shadow layer over to here. Duplicate this button. Now outline buttons, when you hover over them, normally become fill colors. So we're going to grab the shadow and place it there. Then we're going to grab button and change its color to primary. Just so we stay on brand. Change its label to white. And the secondary white becomes white, but we'll change its label to that's a boat, to black. Let's turn off all of our guides. Make sure we've named everything properly. Hover and hover. Now let's test them out. So, add button primary, primary default. Change this to find out more. And hover over it. Pretty cool. Let's do the same with the secondary button. Default. Now you'd probably find these two positioned next to each other with the first CTA of find out more, and the second one saying something like sign up. And hover over it. Now, when you hover over that one, this one will return to normal. So you don't need to worry about that. Let's delete those. And do the second version of a button. Let's grab this one, duplicate it, turn on our guides. Wish there was a shortcut that did all three of those. Here we go. I'm just going to add version 2 on the end of it and just reset a few things. Take the shadow off, leave button on, change that to primary, change its label to white, okay, we're going to group the background layer, call that button, reopen it, change button to mask. And then we're going to add a color primary symbol. Place that there. Resize it. Rename it to color. And then turn on the mask. Okay, now the type of button that this makes can be updated to become any color. So even if your button was called primary default, if you placed it in a design, and change its background color, it then becomes something else altogether. You could do that to whatever color you like. Now, if there's not enough governance in your design system or documentation, a new designer that's onboarded may not know that the primary action button is always the primary color, and they'll change it to whatever they like. Now, if you go through and change the primary color as part of a brand exercise, it's not going to get changed here because this button has already been changed into secondary 4. And this is something that can't happen with the first set of buttons. Let's go back in. You could even take this one step further. Add the color white. Resize that. Make it something like 30% or 20%. Change it to hover. And turn the hover off. Turn this back to primary. And then show its hover state. But you can change the hover state to whatever color you like. Now we've got a button that doesn't belong anywhere in our system, so we're going to delete it. You can keep it, it's up to you guys. Keep whatever you like. And now we're going to do the third version of a button. This is going to be the Paddy one. I turn on all my guides so everything's lined up. If you don't have the Paddy plugin, I'll leave the link to it in the description of this video, but you can also install Sketch Runner. I've mapped mine to start with Command R. Go to install and enter Paddy. Paddy by David Williams with an ES. And as you can see, I've already got it installed. Let's jump out of there. Select that button layer at the back, go to the Paddy plugin, and enter padding for selection. CADs. Come up with 10 and 20. Let's just say OK and see what that does. Ooh. Okay, so the label, I'm going to change from fixed to auto. Just updates automatically, which is pretty cool. But you can see that there's a pixel at the top and at the bottom. So we're going to have to do some CSS thinking because Paddy goes top, right, bottom, left, just like CSS. Let's add something like 11, 16, 13, 16. You can tell I practiced that. All right. But that's a very small button. Let's place it in here and see what we can do with it. Okay, find out more. All right, took a little while, but now it's expanded out the whole thing. So we're going to have to go and select that symbol, hit resize to fit. Okay, and that's fixed it. Okay, but like I said in the introduction for this video, if you've got multiple buttons and one of them says one thing and the other says another thing, that's going to start to look a bit weird and inconsistent for your UX and your UI. So I'm going to delete this one too. And we're going to keep the first set of buttons because it's hard to break them. You just add one. Change it to another one. Change its label to whatever you like. and then you can change it back again. Get a button, primary, default. And that's it for this part. So let's save where we are. Go down to preview and commit. Enter buttons done. Commit changes. And merge this branch at the top right here. Okay, and there's our buttons. All right, the next part is going to be forms and form fields. So stick around for that one, and I'll see you soon. Bye.